Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Braden, Tim, Second Legacy, you're amazing, and thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we have got to tell you about some breaking lawsuits that are coming. They finally figured out what causes all the problems, people, and it has nothing to do with the $73 million settlements, not the exact same lawyers. No, people, it is Call of Duty, and they're going to get sued too. Everything makes so much more sense, Tim. We're going to walk through it right now, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And with that said, Tim, it's Call of Duty, man.
Yeah.
It's Call of Duty. It's Twitter. It's Instagram. It's gun manufacturers. It's fun for the whole family.
And coming from a guy that's played Call of Duty quite a bit, the franchise is woke. And so they're attacking each other now.
Extremely woke. Yeah. They are exceptionally woke.
They have AI scanning chat, like voice chat.
Yes, they do.
And if you say something that flips the woke switch, you get a warning, and then you get banned. I mean, they've banned, big streamers for making jokes, and it's just extremely woke organization. And they got the wokies that are anti-gun coming for them now.
Well, Tim, you're going to notice some familiar players here, and I can't wait to walk you through it because I'm glad we finally figured it out. I also would like to throw out there before we start showing the actual lawsuits and details. Aren't these the same exact people, the gun controllers, who told us that the very mention, the idea that it could be anything other than guns, like fatherless homes, like parenting, like discipline, like Call of Duty, like exposure to violence in movies? Didn't they call us crazy for that?
Yeah, I grew up in a time when video games were quite popular, where we had two rocks and we'd move them across the dirt. No, anyway. Pre-ANSI graphics. No, but the Republicans back in the day, like during the Reagan era, were trying to say that video games that had like 4 pixels on a screen were too graphically violent, and that it was they wanted to put warning labels on music and on video games, even ban some things, and it was the Democrats that were saying, you can't do that.
That's insane.
Right. And so now we have a complete role reversal. It's like, we're going to sue the video game manufacturers because you're right, Braden. It's not just the AR-15s. It's the AR-15s and the video games.
It's all of it. And it's sharing. Oh, my goodness, Tim, I can't wait to walk through all this. Guys, I need some comments on this one because this is next level crazy. All right. Let me show you some intro here, Tim. And I have a funny feeling I know where you're going to want to stop. So let's go with number 1 first, Doc. Publisher of Call of Duty, maker of the AR-15 style rifle, and Meta named in wrongful death lawsuits by families of Uvalde victims. And now we roll right into number 2. This is on CNN. Here we go. 3 companies are facing wrongful death lawsuits in the Uvalde school shooting of 2022, according to the complaints filed in California and Texas. The suits, which accuse the companies of grooming the Robb Elementary School shooter, come after 19 students, you know what happened, and after they won in Texas for $2 million against the city. So, Tim, I thought grooming was something we weren't allowed to say.
Well, I mean, it depends, right?
Oh, it's situational.
It's very situational. Yeah.
Yep.
If you're attacking,
so it's okay.
If you're attacking your political adversaries and you're on the extreme left, you can use the word grooming. But
but any other scenario?
Yeah. Well, there's other words we won't get into. That are very situational. But
that's right.
Yeah. I mean, it's the games they play on the left side of the house.
It's very true. That's very true. Yeah. So they're grooming them, Tim, and as we walk through this, I just want to highlight they've laid out an entire case here, and this is some high level stuff. So first, they're going to sue the gun manufacturers, which of course is a natural go-to because that's a fun thing to do. Then they're going to sue Instagram and Meta because they were sharing information. And then they're going to sue Call of Duty because it trained him.
Captain Price. Yeah.
Yep. Captain Price. We'll get to that in a second. Well, let me just kind of walk down here. Let's walk through incrementally how they're suing individuals, of course, across the board. This is number 4. This is how Daniel Defense deserves it. The game featured a weapon from Daniel Defense called a DDM-4 V7, which served as a teaser for players eager to try out the new weapon. At the same time, the piece of crap was being courted through explicit aggressive marketing on Instagram, the suit said. And, of course, Meta is the parent company of Instagram. So, Tim, we had a Daniel Defense rifle in Call of Duty, and then Meta was aggressively marketing it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense why they would get nailed, right?
You know whose fault it's not? The shooters.
Who? That's true.
They're just a victim in all of this.
Nailed it.
So...
That's exactly right. Yeah. It's all these people.
Because it was the evil rifle speaking to them through the video game, which was then promoted by Meta. You know,
That's
like
right.
when you log into Facebook and you see the Call of Duty ads, that's marketing to children,
Yes.
and you're
Exactly.
marketing firearms to children through a video game that isn't a real firearm. It just kind of sort of looks like one, but it's close enough to where we're going to sue everybody involved. It has nothing to do with the kid that was not right in the head that went out and committed a horrible act of violence. It's somebody else's fault. It's always somebody else's fault. All the drug dealing going on inside our major cities. It's not the drug dealers' fault. They're victims. It's the system. People.
It's the system.
It's the system keeping them down and limiting their choices. And so they can die or sell drugs. And so they sell drugs and they're the victim. And all the people they kill, they should be sued because they shouldn't be taking the drugs that the victims are selling. So anyway, I think I've got this leftist logic figured out.
No, you've got it figured out. As always, you are an economic engine of ideas. I mean, 100%. I love it. To borrow a line from Spaceballs, when you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
So that's where Gavin Newsom got it. It's true?
No, it's his own little version. It's
true. Because it's true.
I knew it. I knew that line came from somewhere. It's Spaceballs. It's a take on Spaceballs.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know what happened to that guy. He kind of faded, didn't he? You don't really see a lot of them. It's weird. It's almost like they were trying to push a replacement for Biden, but then they didn't do it, so he kind of faded off. And anyway,
he didn't go far enough away. He's still out there.
No, I promise he'll rise like a phoenix soon. We'll have to deal with that. But Tim, you might find a familiarity in this one. Dr. Producer, I'm going to go a little out of order here. This is number 9 because this is important. Then we'll go back. The families, Tim, they are represented by Koskoff, and Beater, the law firm that won the $73 million settlement from gun manufacturer Remington in the fallout of Sandy Hook. Well, isn't that weird?
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you go get that?
That's odd.
And just to make that clear, the $73 million settlement was a settlement. It was not a court decision.
And it was at the insurance company, not Remington.
This is what they do. They bleed these companies dry through endless legal actions.
Yep.
And they don't want to go directly to court. They want to drag it out for years. And bleed the companies out through legal expenses, through discovery and having to pay lawyers millions and millions of dollars. Right. And so sometimes it's just cheaper just to settle and get it over with. And that's what they're banking on here. And that's what they did to Remington. 100%. And they're going to try to do it here too, because Meta's got deep pockets.
Well, and also,
go ahead.
Remington had already called bankruptcy. So they already declared it. So the insurance company wanted it to go away. So they gave them $73 million. And then this created a whole industry, which, by the way, when it happened, we told you was going to happen on our independent outlets. But anyway, so Tim, that's who we're dealing with. So let me show you some quotes from what they've said, because I think this is really where you get the genius. All right. This is number 5, Doc. The defendants bear responsibility for this profound corruption of our children, the suit filed in California Superior Court in Los Angeles says. In concert with certain firearm manufacturers, they have groomed a generation of young men who are socially vulnerable, insecure about their masculinity, and eager to show strength and assert dominance. Wow.
So that's toxic male masculinity right there.
That's toxic masculinity, or lack thereof, so therefore they have to grab it by playing Call of Duty, which then they want to get a Daniel Defense rifle, which then they will record it on Meta and Instagram with gun images, and then therefore they buy them. That's the path.
Yeah.
That's the path.
Wow. Was there any white privilege in this story, or
no buckets? No buckets were found in this reporting.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty big claim. It's they're socially vulnerable, Braden. Socially vulnerable.
Exactly.
And they're insecure about their masculinity. And so they play video games, and then they train in the video games to then go out and commit real acts of violence because Meta told them to, through saying, hey, buy this game now for $99. I can see the connection there. It's
100%.
Sometimes I feel like committing acts of violence, waking up and choosing violence when I find out it's going to cost me $99 to play a video game. So I get it. Maybe I should sue them.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. Maybe that $100 just to reclaim your masculinity was the fault of Activision. So we should probably sue them across the board.
And Meta.
Fact, I think everyone who bought, that's right. Anyone who bought Call of Duty or plays on Meta or Instagram.
Look, go to the source, Braden. This just dawned on me.
What's the source?
We're suing all these people with deep pockets, but where do they get the money? From the Federal Reserve. We need to sue them. They got all the money, and if they need more, they'll just print it.
Creature from Jekyll Island is emerging from the swamp right now.
I just figured it out. That's who you sue, the Federal Reserve, because they're the ones pushing all this, because if it wasn't for the evil capitalist dollar making Meta run ads and Daniel Defense to manufacture guns for profit, it's the whole system, and we need to sue the system.
I get it.
Oh, boy. I'm going to be a leftist.
No, it makes sense. No, that makes sense because you're going after capitalism now.
It's capitalism.
Dude. Genius.
We've distilled this down, folks. That's why you watch our videos.
We figured it out.
Yeah.
That's why we're here, to bring this down like a moonshine still. It just came out of the coppered pipe. That was a lot, Tim.
Yeah.
That was a lot. Well,
you know where that
let me
leaves
tell you
us?
some more evil.
Communism. I got it in. Okay, let's
Communism. There it is. You nailed it. You nailed it. We saw it coming. Well, here's some more evidence of how bad they are. This is literally from the lawsuit. This is the lawyers. Quote, "There's a direct line between the conduct of these companies and the Uvalde shooter." Jeez. Just 23 minutes after midnight on his 18th birthday, the Uvalde shooter bought an AR-15 made by a company with a market share of less than 1%. Why? Because well before he was old enough to purchase it, he was targeted and cultivated online by Instagram, Activision, and Daniel Defense. This three-headed monster knowingly exposed him to the weapon, conditioned him to see it as a tool to solve his problems, and trained him to use it. Wow.
Yeah. See, I've been trying to tell people for years, why do I want to go take a training class with Warrior Poet when I got Call of Duty? I get all the training I need every night. I can eat
So
Cheetos
easy.
and,
sit naked in a beanbag chair.
Training. It's 2024. Who goes out and actually trains? All you need is a video game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Outside, there's bugs out there.
Right. And it can get hot.
That's not
You can
good.
stay in the air conditioning.
And sweating. My skin starts to get wet and it's uncomfortable. Yeah.
This is good stuff. It's like,
this is great.
yeah, it's all their faults. Well, I guess they're going to get held accountable. So, what's sad is if they go the same route as Remington. Now, Meta has fleets of lawyers. Suing them is a bold move because they actually enjoy these types of things, right? Because they can
So
bury
stupid.
this kosh cough bedider guys. They can bury them with money, and so we'll see. But Daniel Defense, they're not this huge company. I mean, this is intended to put them out of business like Remington. If they could bring Remington down, at least in part, with their guerrilla tactics through using legal means, they certainly can do it to Daniel Defense because it's a much smaller group and a much smaller company.
Right.
And I think that's the goal here, is just to bleed them all out.
Oh, absolutely correct. It is 100% to destroy them and get more money for this firm, because this firm is making its brand on going after gun companies. I mean, $73 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. You tell me you're not going to put in
40
effort
plus
to try to get that again.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Like, come on, you're going to try again. But this is where it all kind of culminates. And this is what I think is so fascinating, funny, comical, depressing. The PLCAA is something called the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, which prevents gun dealers or gun manufacturers or anyone in the supply chain from being sued by or for the use of their products in an illegal manner. That is literally what protects them. Okay, so Daniel Defense, Tim, you know that they have protections. Well, that's one plaintiff on the lawsuit. Let's continue and see what else here. This is number 10. Online platforms like Instagram and Facebook, also owned by Meta, similarly have federal immunity that in most cases prevents companies from being sued for actions committed by users. Okay. Meta and Instagram, Daniel Defense, both of them are protected federally from the actions of their users.
Right.
What's the point of this lawsuit?
Again, it's just
why.
Well, first of all, it's for media. It's an election year. I'm sure that the Democrats have something to do with this. But again, they're hoping. Yes, like the PLCCA. Yeah, that bad boy has been circumvented. They did that to Remington, right? So what they're saying is well, yeah, we can't sue you for manufacturing a legal product, but we can sue you for your predatory marketing. And that's how they figured out a way around that law. So they're violating the spirit of the law. The spirit of the law is just leave
100%.
Anybody alone that manufactures a legal product. You can't sue them for somebody misusing the product. That's on the criminal or the person doing the wrong thing. It's not on the company. So they're violating the spirit. And this would take a SCOTUS decision to stop them from doing this over and over and over again. So
correct. Well, and then and the interesting part about this is, and the last thing that we're going to get to Davey from the K-12 school shooting database, the interesting thing about this is they're going after Section 230, of which the Democrats on the left spent all their time defending Section 230, protecting it against the Republicans who were pissed because Twitter and Facebook was actively discouraging conservatives and going out and supporting the left. I mean, like,
this is
understand how far we've come in 2 years.
This is the hypocrisy of the left, though. It's no different than Hunter Biden standing trial right now, and now he's claiming that Bruin in the Second Amendment protect his actions of buying a gun, lying on a 4473 form, then tossing the gun in a dumpster outside of a school. And look, I do want him to get off on that, and I hope that the Second Amendment thing gets him off on that. But the hypocrisy of it all.
Can you stop saying gets him off on that?
Oh, boy. You had to go there.
I did.
You know,
I was
$20 is $20.
concerned.
Anyway,
the
so
first one, $20 is $20. That's right.
But anyway, so they will do this. They'll say, that's evil. We need to get rid of this law. That Bruin decision was bad. Oh, wait, until we defend Hunter with it. And then it's bad again. Well, here we go.
And then it's great.
Yeah.
And then it's bad.
It's like Section 230. We have to protect it. And then, no, we got to get rid of it. We got to protect it. It just depends on which way the political winds are blowing that day.
Exactly. That's 100% correct. Now, do you want to throw in Davey from K-12
Yeah,
real
so he
quick?
had
Do you want to throw that
Yeah,
in?
he had to chime in, so you get a goofy gun grabber as a bonus, folks. If you can throw up old Davey's tweet here. So Davey had this to say. Of course, Davey's a contrarian, right? So Davey doesn't like security. He posts studies that say that, security has been proven time and time again to increase the threat to innocent people. It doesn't stop crime from happening. So we don't need TSA, Secret Service, police. We don't need any of that anymore. We don't even need a military. You just don't need that because security makes you less safe. Well, so here he is in support of apparently. So he does this. He makes posts like this one where he says, and he's quoting here, when a shooter entered classroom 112, he approached one of the teachers, said good night, and shot her in the head, according to the suit. Good night is a catchphrase from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Captain Price, a famous reoccurring character, Freudian slip in the franchise, is known to say good night when a player kills an enemy. And so he posts this just in quotes. And then, a screenshot of the actual of a news report. He never really links to news reports.
Never the actual article.
Right, because you can go in there and find things in the article to debunk him. So he just wants you to go Google it yourself because he thinks he's being crafty here. But here he is, once again, being the old contrarian. It's like basically he's saying without saying it, folks, because now he has plausible deniability. I didn't really say that we should ban video games and Meta and Instagram are bad people. I just made this post that kind of hinted towards that, given the news cycle. Click, follow me. I have a podcast.
Yeah.
There were 2,032 shootings last year, but if you use a different filter, it was follow my database.
It's
oh God,
it's so grifty.
I know.
This is like the new version of Davey Hogg.
He's an older version, a more cockeyed version, and just a more annoying version. Just because he's
not as good.
He's not as good. He's
not as good.
They both self-flatulate and boast about, how I'm just the greatest person in the world. Oh my gosh, follow me. But I'll never forget. It was just last year when Davey's like, Twitter's just trash of conservatism and MAGA nuts, and I'm out of here. And the next day he starts posting again, and we were all like calling him on it, and he just, of course, ignores it.
Hey, welcome back. Yeah. Welcome back, Cupcake.
Yep. He can't stand us.
Well, that's that, Tim.
All right. Yep. That's it. So
that's that. Call of Duty.
Anyway, folks, just remember. Save your money, folks. Ammunition is expensive. Training is expensive. Travel is expensive under Bidenomics. Just remember, Call of Duty is an outstanding substitute for training. So, according to them, anyway, I'm just kidding. Go get real training. Thanks for watching Second Legacy. We'll talk to you guys soon.